Hello everyone, I'm back with another delightful video. So happy um, Wednesday, happy new comic book day. I hope everybody is having a great one. So it is currently the 8th of May, and yeah, so today's video is going to be my impressions of the X-Men issues 1 through 10. This is from the 1960s. I'm not showing any kind of artwork in this video. This is just my impression of them, of the first 10 issues. Now, I actually went on Google to find out how many issues of the X-Men that came out, and it was actually the Uncanny X-Men. So the X-Men became the Uncanny X-Men after issue 1 something, and it's interesting that they changed it and stuff. So yeah, so found out there are over 500 issues. There's like 544 issues. It actually ended, I believe it was 2001. And yeah, so there you have it. So I had decided, since I thoroughly and absolutely love the X-Men, that this was going to be the main series that I read. And, especially because, I can sit down and I can read as many of the X-Men comics as I want, and I don't have to, if it's raining like it is now, I don't have to go to the comic book shop in the rain and whatnot. So with that being said, so my impressions of issues 1 through 10 of the X-Men prior to them becoming the Uncanny X-Men. So, first of all, I want to let people know is a lot of the stuff that ends up later on in the Uncanny X-Men were not present in the X-Men. So for people that believe that the Sentinels and the Registry and all that horrible stuff that mutants in general were forced to go through never appears in the original X-Men, especially the first 10 issues I just read. So we're introduced to villains like Lucifer. No, not the devil. Lucifer, who lives in a very deep cave. We're introduced to the Blob, who appears twice, I believe, in the third issue, and I don't remember what the other issue was. We're introduced to the League of Evil Mutants, which was I forgot his name. He did illusions. That was his mutant ability. And you have Quicksilver, the Scarlet Witch, who will later on become an Avenger. See here, the Untouchable, which was a guy whose mutant ability was that he couldn't be touched, which I'm sorry, Hey did something bad in that issue. But we're introduced to all these various different kinds of characters. Here's the thing that makes these first 10 issues very different from way later issues. There's no mentioning of Magneto's Jewish heritage. There's no mention of Magneto being the father of Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. There is no mention of anti-mutant hatred. Mutant hatred, not anti, but mutant hatred. But there is this belief that Xavier has that it's best the world does not know that mutants exist. They're also considered to be superior Homo sapiens. That is what what Charles Xavier uses. So yes. So one of the weirdest things about the first 10 issues of the X-Men is that they're teenagers. So these are people that have graduated from Xavier School for the Gifted in, I believe it's going to be issue number 3. And so the cover is that it is a boarding school for certain kinds of people. And yeah, so it is considered a boarding school. It's not known as a school for mutants. That comes much, much later. And there's this sense of like, you know, people are ignorant about the existence of mutants. They, you know, to them, like the people that are like robbing the banks, or like, I mean, there's a lot of bank robbing in the first 10 issues of the X-Men. Like, that is the only thing that these people know to do is rob banks. I just don't seem to understand that at all. And you know, you got all these weird things like mentions of the Ed Sullivan Show, which, by the way, in the 1960s was very popular. And of course, we meet the Avengers. The Avengers had to pop up in some way, and this is actually their first meeting. Is in, I believe it's X-Men, the X-Men issue number 9. So like maybe Thor and Iron Man and Wasp and all that. And yeah, it's it's not exactly a wonderful meeting. They don't get along at all. Like the mutants and the Avengers do not get along at all. Yeah, Tony Stark's like, they're little superpower teenagers. I'm like, oh god, seriously, Tony? Seriously, really? You're like, little daddy DPD. It's like, oh god. Tony, love you to death, but sometimes you're just too much. But in the first 10 issues I read, I definitely can see why the X-Men became as popular as they did, and why they still continue to be insanely popular, and why I think I made a good call in deciding what superhero team I was going to be following, and all that. But the first 10 issues were interesting because they really kind of show that we don't have Magneto the way that he's going to end up becoming. He's more of a laughingstock than an actual threat. He's just more of like this really annoying guy that you never want to invite over for dinner. And the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, Quicksilver makes like this comment about how they're being forced to follow Magneto, and it kind of tells you, but even the X-Men kind of get the feeling that these two aren't really that evil. And what they don't realize is that these two are going to become very important people later on. But anyways, overall, I enjoyed it a lot, and I look forward to reading the next 10 issues. So I will see you around when that happens. Bye.